Hello everyone, I'm going to give a tutorial on the Maya Trax editor. The Maya Trax editor is under the window animation editor's Trax editor, and what it is a way for you to manage animation clips and have them working in a scene. In some cases, like in this case, it's repeating one clip over and over and then adding another clip at the end. And in a way, it's sort of like the graph editor because you can preview and drag the timeline. Um, it has the ability to um, stretch or shrink clips. So if you grab the corner here, you can make the clips last longer, or you can have them shorter in duration. So here it takes longer for this animation to occur versus this is quicker. And then in this case it's actually overlapping, so we're having issues there. So make sure that when you're using this Trax editor um, you're not overlapping your clips. Um, so I'm going to show the process to create clips and how to use this Trax editor. So I'm going to close this out and I'm just going to open a beginning scene, this walk cycle scene. So here what I have is this is a 25 frame animation, and we're going to capture this information and reuse it. So here's our 25 frames, and so what we could do is just duplicate this in the Trax editor 3 times, and actually a 4th time for the assignment. And you're animating 1 time and you're allowing the Trax editor to figure out how to blend these clips together. It's going to figure that out for you. And then this is a walk cycle, walk, and this is the fall. And the same character is used for both of these. And then this one would go in at the end here. And so the Trax editor allows you to manage and reuse these clips, and it also allows you to blend them together. You can also take like an existing animation and select specific keyframes out of that. So maybe this is a fight scene or whatever, and it's in one timeline in Maya. You can selectively take parts of a timeline's keyframes out and save them as clips. So this could be a clip. I'll just say this will be a clip. And you can save these outside of the scene as files. File MA. And when you do this, you would want to make sure that you just specify that it's an animation clip. You can say AC, because the file extension is the same as a Maya scene file, and you just want to make sure that you're distinguishing that file from a normal scene file, because it's going to have the same extension. But the idea is that you can take and modularize, if you want to call it modular, breaking up the scene into parts, and then, you know, taking these and reassembling these into some kind of animation. And doing that is it's a powerful tool, and I think that it will help you be more creative in Maya. So here's one such animation. It's 25 frames. It's on this character called Goon, and in order to use the Trax editor, we will need to create a character set. Character set right now is none. We don't have any character set, and so that's the first step. Go to the Windows, Animation Editor, Trax Editor, and here we have no such elements at all. So what we're going to do is go to Create, Character Set, Options, and we can name our character Goon. And I just want to show you that in your outliner there'll be a character that gets created and placed in your outliner. So we're just going to call this Goon character. I'm going to leave the default options. It's going to create this container for the animation clips to be contained in. So if this is the Trax editor and these are the clips, the character set is the actual I'd say the box. So character set is necessary before you do anything. Just call it container. And it's going to include all keyable elements except scaling and visibility. So basically everything, unless you've used scale and visibility. We're just going to use this create character set button. And now what we have here is we have our character, and it's in the outliner. And if you open this up, you can see all of the different attributes that we're going to be able to save our animation clips to. So now that we've created that, you can see in the outliner we have a Goon character, and we have nothing here yet because we haven't loaded the character into it. So what we're going to do next is we're going to switch back to none, where it says no character set. The reason for this is so that we can capture the animation keyframes from the character scene and put them into the Trax editor here. So we're going to set this to the no character set. We have our existing character set created, and now what we're going to do is create an animation clip, and go to the options, and we'll just call this walk, and we'll leave all the default options here. Time range, we're going to use all the animation curves in the scene. We're going to leave these defaults, and we're going to click create clip. So that dialog is dismissed and goes away, but still we don't see anything in the Trax editor. So in order for us to see what we have created, we're just going to click this button here. This is going to load the goon character and the single clip here in our Trax editor. These things are located in the visor. So if you open up the visor, you'll see that this is a clip that actually was created called walk source, and this is an element that can be reused in our scene. So for example, you can drag this with the middle mouse button into the Trax editor and use that as sort of like a file manager. The way that I'm going to duplicate this is just selecting this and do Control D, and that does the same thing, but it also puts it in a new line. So I'm going to do that again, and do another Control D. And now what we have is a looping character animation. It's looping, it's seamless, because when I created this initial walk cycle, I made sure that the beginning, the first keyframe, was exactly the same as the last keyframe. So for example, this key here is the same as the key in the beginning. So once you do this, once you create these clips, the Trax editor is prioritizing these clips, and you'll see that the keyframes are no longer available in this scene. So what you can do is you can click on these clips if you need to edit them, and you can right click and go to activate, and when you do that, the rest of these clips change color, and now you can see in the timeline we can adjust our keyframes if needed. You gotta make sure that when you're done editing this, you go back and uncheck activate, because you are actually going into this clip and you're editing the content within it. So here I can, for example, on this walk, I can activate, and then I may decide in the middle of this walk that I may take his head and just turn it. I already got 1, 2, 3 keyframes on his neck, but maybe right here what I'll do is I'll just turn on auto key, and I'll look at the camera, and then I'll look back. I'll just copy this one here, paste it. So now he's gonna turn and look. It's kind of quick. Maybe I want to just change that a little bit. Maybe smooth it out. It's really quick. Maybe space this out a little bit more. It's only 25 keyframes. When I'm done, what I'm going to do is turn off activate keys. Okay, so now we're actually editing this, and it is actually taking and editing each one of these, and but we can apply changes to that through the editing feature, through the activation feature. Okay, and then what we're going to do next is import an external file. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is select this Trax editor and make sure the Goon character is selected in the timeline, and go to File, Import Animation Clip to a Character, and I'm going to go Options, and the options are to put the clip in the Trax editor and the visor. So we're going to import clip, and this file should be located in your downloads folder. It should be called Fall Animation Clip. So I'm going to open this, and so it added it over here. So what we need to do is move this to a new line below the fourth walk, and so you're going to have to add another layer. One way to do this is to click or right click on the top and choose Insert Track Below. The other way is to right click and do Insert Track Above. If it doesn't work, sometimes it just takes a minute to update, so be patient with the program while it updates. So now what we have is a walk cycle, and then a boom, fall. So he's walking in place at this time, and so we could do some extra modifications to this so that it looks like he's actually moving through space. Alright, I'm gonna switch this to the no character set timeline, and then create a locator and do this again. And I think the default options are okay. I'm gonna check maintain offset. Select this, add. So I'm gonna move this back, set the key at 100. We're going to locate it here, hit S. So whenever you need to add elements back into the timeline or the scene that's not in the character itself, make sure that your layer is set to no character set, so that your elements that you're animating aren't affecting the character. So now if I play this back, I don't know, like he seems to be walking in place at the beginning. Here he's walking in place, and then at the end he's walking in place. So this is an easy fix. All we do is go into the graph editor and click on the locator, and it's using an ease in and an ease out. So we're just going to change this to linear. So now it isn't easing into that. Okay, it looks like it's working a little bit better. And you can move this forward a little bit. See if that looks better. His feet are sliding a little bit. I think he's just not moving fast enough. Whoops. I think that looks better now, just because he's covering a larger amount of distance. And then right here, I'm just gonna create an object. Polygon, primitive. I used a prism. Okay, right there, he hits it. It's kind of floating in the air. Making it look like it's interfering with his walk and he's tripping. And then the only other thing I can think of is that each of these animation clips, when they're created, you can export them into other scenes. So if you open up the visor, like here's our fall animation clip, we had that external, but this one we started as a scene, and now we created an animation clip for use in this scene. But if we go to file, we can if we right click on this, you can export. And so you could call this, you know, walk animation clip.ma. I would definitely call it animation clip, so that you know that it can only be used in the Trax editor. And save that in a folder with your other scene assets. Save. And that's about it.